Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Excalibur Data Systems Roundtable Tech Talk. I am Mike Fuson. I am joined by one of my favorite British personalities, Mr. Tom Petley from across the pond. Tom, how are you?
Hey Mike, yeah, great, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, it's always fun to get together and talk Halo. Um, One of the things that you and I were chit-chatting about a little bit is really the kind of the concept of ITAM, so IT asset management. Tom and I kind of gotten into a whole very deep barcoding discussion, um, and we were talking about something that a lot of folks maybe don't realize that Halo has available is a stock component. I don't want to call it a module because it's really just a built-in feature of Halo that lets you track your stock of items. And you guys have taken a little bit different approach with this, where in many CMDBs, one of the statuses is in stock for a particular item. Where, well, the way you've implemented this is you're actually able to track that in a stock component, which could be tracking serialized as well as non-serialized items like keyboards and mice and
Mm,
potentially monitors or webcams or what have you, whatever it is you want to track. Um,
mhm.
and this is something available to customers because, of course, the Halo licensing is an all-you-can-eat buffet where you use the components of the system that make the most sense to you. And as you mature, you can turn these things on. In addition, I'll just kind of set the stage for customers that'll go, well, Mike, that's not fully ITAM. Well, there is ordering capabilities and other things that could be part of that. But we're going to focus kind of on the stock concept today because it's something that comes up for clients for me quite often where they're tracking the stock of certain items that they have, and they'd like to know when they get to a certain low stock level and be notified, hey, you're down to 5 keyboards. You may need to order more, that sort of thing. So, Tom, let's talk a little bit about this and kind of see what you guys have done in Halo and the approach you've taken.
Yeah, so as you said, a lot of systems do kind of the asset status life cycle of it. One step could be in stock. And we have a similar feature to that, but we often find it doesn't go quite far enough. If you just do it like that, you can't track kind of stock movements, you can't track the specific bins of stock, you can't track multiple locations, you can't just go to a location and find how much stock you've got. It's a little bit too simplified for a lot of kind of real world needs. It serves a purpose if you can quickly see, okay, I've got 10 laptops in stock because they've got that status, but you can't really tell where they are or who's had them before, all that kind of stuff. So we've got a kind of a module for it, and as you said, it does feed into all the ordering stuff as well. So if ever organizations want to build in their procurement processes or any kind of the ordering side of things, then that can actually feed into your purchase orders, and you can link it back to your vendors and suppliers and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very mature module. So today I'm just going to show you a little bit of what we can do with it, basically, some of the different areas. Right, I think we'll start just by sharing my screen, if that's all right. And
That's perfect.
just share my screen. So again, this is the trial. I've just downloaded from the site or signed up to on the site. So anyone can go and kind of on the website, go on Excalibur's website and you can sign up to a trial of Halo, and you can access all of this. The module we're talking about today is the items module, we call it, which is where we keep all our different items or stock within here. Now, you can have as many as you want in here, and this can all be imported as well. So if you just want to import it from spreadsheets or CSVs, you can actually quickly drop that straight in. And as you'll see here, I've got kind of Surface Laptop 4, but you can have all your different kind of models of laptop you offer. They can all have their own record here. You can see how many's in stock. And we can also have, so we've got serialized ones here. So serialized being, at the end of the day, we're going to track it as an asset. And then we've got the non-serialized ones, which are things like keyboards, mice, which actually we'll make a decision that actually the value of them isn't high enough that we're going to track it as an asset. It's just going to be something that we manage the stock level of. So if I go into one of these keyboards, for example, you'll see underneath here, there's a whole host of settings here. But I'm not going to go into every one. I'm just going to kind of some of the basics. So one of the things we can do here is just simply receive stock. So I can say I've now just received an order of 20 keyboards. We can actually track the financials of it as well, so we can know what the cost is and kind of any depreciation as well if you want to build all that in. I'm going to say I'll bring that in for $10 or £10, and I'm going to put it into this stock location. So this, I've got some kind of dummy data here, but this would typically be your organization. Then you'd have like a physical address, and then you can go into further detail around maybe this room or this rack or this this warehouse. It could be anything really. Basically, you've got the different layers to it, your different bins, and that can all be tracked. So I'm just going to drop into this one here, save that. And now under the stock tab, we can see, okay, we've got 50 in this location. Ooh, I actually want to click on that. Go back to it. Stock here. So we've got 50 in this location, we've got 20 in this location, and we've got 70 as a whole. So actually, if your location's out, you may actually just want to pull them from another location rather than ordering a load of new keyboards. So to do that, you can also transfer it. So that's just moving it from one location to another. And then we've got the history as well. So we're tracking all that history in there. So you can see all of that. And again, that can pull into your reporting, and it can pull into your procurement processes as well. So that's the very kind of basic, simple stock here. And if someone was to make a request, so if I actually just go across to the portal, and you can workflow all this, so it can all be workflowed. So once someone makes a request, we're then pulling it out of our stock, or we're checking stock, or we could go down an ordering process if there's no stock available. So that just loads up. Should just take us in, hopefully. And I'm just going to go into our service catalog, or I could just start typing in here as well. I'll do it for the catalog. And I'm going to raise some hardware. I'm going to go for one of our peripherals, because that's out of the box where we keep our keyboard mice kind of requests in under this kind of generic one here. So if I just select I should have a keyboard in here. Again, you can choose your different, you can actually present the different specific stock items on there. So from that single kind of catalog of it, you can actually present those options on there. So I'm going to do that in here. I'll just put example in there as well. And if I just go and submit that, that's going to drive through our workflow. So typically for a peripheral like this, you probably wouldn't have an approval process or anything like that. But for some of the kind of larger, more expensive items, then you probably would build in some kind of approval process as part of that. So our request just dropped in, our peripherals request here, and you'll see here underneath here, you'll just see what we're requesting under our fields here. So just a wired keyboard. So as part of that, we can then issue that item. So we can take that out of stock. So we can pick our keyboard. I'll just do one of them. Select that, and that's going to, once we save this, we've got the option here to consign that item, which is the process of it being actually removed from stock, and we get to choose our location at this point. And I'm going to take it from our main location and just save that. Because they're all non-serialized, we're assuming every keyboard is the same. There's no kind of real need to differentiate a specific keyboard. It's just a keyboard. So that's now been taken out of stock. It's been allocated to that user, and we can then go and close the ticket and tell the user it's all done. What do you reckon to that, Mike, as a simple process for kind of issuing out those kind of basic items?
Well, I like the fact that it's an end-to-end sort of process. So as a technician doing the delivery, you're actually it's affecting your stock numbers, and that helps because from a stock perspective, things like that may be things that are being tracked, and you want to know if we're getting low on stock.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, is that you're going in and you're counting how many you have, or through a workflow, it's removing items from our stock as they're being allocated, and now we have the ability to set an alarm, if you will, or a workflow that's going to say, let us know when we get low on stock.
Yeah, that's something I didn't talk about actually. There's a process where you can set a threshold for what level you want to be alerted at. So often that'll be, well, it depends on what type of item, really, how quickly you can kind of receive them, really. But you can either set it as a percentage. So you could say when we're down to, I don't know, 15% or something, I want to be alerted and we'll get some more in. Or it could be simply a number when we get to zero, I want to order again, kind of thing. So yeah, it's really up to you how you kind of configure that. So yeah, so it's just a nice process. And as I said before, you can also take it down the approach of actually creating a serialized asset afterwards as well, which I'm not sure. Have you seen that before, Mike, in any other systems? If it's something unique to Halo, it's quite.
It definitely is unique. These are sometimes processes that can be built into other systems. Um, what I like is this does give us an end-to-end capability within our system, and it's tied into our service catalog, into our workflow of delivering the product to the customer. So talk to me about a laptop. How does that work differently as a serialized item? What additional things are occurring?
So what we've got with a laptop, so we're saying it's going to be linked to this asset type for assets. So once we actually issue that out of stock, it's going to go and create a laptop record. Now, there's actually two ways of doing it. Some people prefer to create the asset record at the point of bringing that laptop into stock, which we can do, and it creates a very basic asset record. And you can actually import that from a spreadsheet as well. So if, I don't know, you get 100 laptops from Dell and you know the serial numbers of all of them, you can just import that and that will just go and create those records and link it back to the stock location. The other way is that you set that up at the point of taking it out of stock. So when you take it out of stock, you'll scan it, you'll get all the information in, and that all feeds in. So when we're talking about a laptop, so laptop's I'm going to go into the asset registry here, and I'm just going to show you what the asset type of laptop looks like, which is this one. So the way Halo works is, say we've got lots of different types of laptop. They're all going to be grouped under the kind of the key term of laptop. That's kind of what they are. They have the same kind of template, same processes behind them. So when we're looking at laptop, we're looking at kind of models, serial number, OS versions, all those kind of fields here. If we go back to the stock record for here, you'll see we can set all these defaults. So I can say every time we take a laptop out of stock, we're going to set the model is going to be auto. I can type. The model is automatically going to be a Surface Laptop 4. So automatic, we're not going to have to fill out all this information every single time. It's just going to take the defaults from that record and just populate it. There will obviously be stuff that is unique to that record, such as kind of warranty dates or possibly purchase prices, which might vary, that kind of stuff that you might want to fill in on a per asset kind of like a granular level, but there'll be lots of defaults you can just set here. Now, what we can do is this time we'll go back to the port and we'll do a laptop request underneath the hardware. So do a laptop one. And as I said before, you can actually pull that from the stock inventory list. So you can actually give the option of exactly what laptops you're offering at any point in time. In this case, we've just got a generic standard laptop or developer laptop, which allows us that flexibility to actually change the model behind the scenes and say our standard laptop is currently a Surface laptop, but maybe in future we'll swap over to Lenovo or whatever it might be. You can also tie it in as well with the peripherals. So at this point, I could say I'm getting a laptop, but I'm also going to give them a keyboard. I'm going to give them a mouse with it, that kind of thing. So you can actually bundle it all together and again follow that same process. I'm going to say no to all of these and just submit that. So if I now head back into our request area and just go back into one of these, our laptop request, you'll see here, because it is a laptop request, we've actually got an approval process as part of it. Often when they are serialized assets, we do recommend the approval process because of the extra cost that goes with them, really. We'll go and accept that. Okay, so we've now accepted that, and now we're in this process. I'm going to go over here to issue that item. It's worth saying that you don't have to go into this option. You can actually build into the workflow and have buttons up here, which some people prefer. It's a little bit more in your view there. I've kept it simple in this so I can just have that flexibility of using that. So I'm going to choose one of our laptops here and select that. Now you'll see I'm going through the same options here. I'm going to assign that out. And I'm going to pick from, I don't have any in stock. Hang on, let me just bring some into stock. So it's a good example of being able to track your stock levels. You can see that I don't have any in stock. I can't give any out. So I'm just going to go and receive some in. I'll just do 5 in here, and I'll do 500, and I'll put them into our main location here. Okay, so if I now go back to our request, This time I'm going to, again, consign that item out. And I'm going to pick the one from our main site here. And as part of this, if I just go into that consignment record, we can see we've got that record of that coming out of stock. And as part of this, so you can see this Surface laptop's come out of stock. We have the serialized asset as part of it, so we know exactly which laptop it is. And if we want to, we can actually, I didn't have it set up there, but you can actually select the user at that point as well, so you know who you're giving it to. And you can also set the status as well, which allows it to say, okay, that's now, because it may not be ready to use. It may be it's going through a different process, but you can set the status at that point as well. So again, it's that full end-to-end. And if we go back into this, we can actually go into the asset record from here, and that will then be allocated. And you'll see as part of this, it's taking all those defaults. So it's saying that it's taking that default of laptop, and it's also taking that model that we set as the default as the Surface laptop. And if we wanted to, we could fill out all those other fields at the point of taking it out of stock as well. So yeah, again, it's that complete process. And then if we go into our stock record, you can also then see that that's been taken out of stock from this request for this user, all that kind of stuff. So you've got all the all that full traceability of everything that's going on. So it's taken it out. It's on this ticket here. We can go into that. We can see that record, see all the history. Yeah, and again, it's just that full audit trail, full kind of life cycle of it, and it's really easy to use.
Very cool. So it gives you the ability to track those stock items, which a lot of customers, and I know especially post-pandemic, there's a lot of things that folks are trying to track that are not serialized, and they're not worried about. They're trying to understand what their costs are. How many do we have? Where are they going to go? As well as the items that are serialized. So what are we ordering, and what does that process look like? What's our frequency that we're doing things, and being able to track that where everything's tied together. On this one, this is the one that went. On this one, here's who did what. It gives you that end-to-end view of what's occurring within our processes, and the fact that it's then you can tie it to the CMDB where they're picking from items that are available. And I'm guessing in there we can have items that if it wasn't in stock and they picked it, when we go to consign it, it goes, wait a minute, you need to order this, right? Mm-hmm. You flipped it so we could see kind of the end-to-end workflow, but now it could trigger wait a minute, this needs to be ordered.
The nice thing about maybe it's the ordering could be in Halo, but it doesn't have to be in Halo. We appreciate not everyone wants to do everything in Halo. We'd love them to, but they don't have to. So they can go and fire up a process to an ERP system or a finance system to go and do that ordering side of things as well.
Well, and what we've seen some customers do is they use the ordering module to track the orders that they're making, and the orders are officially done, through, whatever their accounting department or procurement decides, they're using. It could be an ERP or whatever, but they're able to track what have we ordered, and then when we receive it, be able to receive it, and then it affects the stock number, from an ordering perspective. I mean, we could go layers and layers deeper and see all of those things. But those are features and functions that are available, and it's one of the things that really makes Halo a different type of product on the market. This isn't, while you refer to it as a module, it's not a module that the customer goes, oh, I want that too. Okay, well, we'll check that off, and that's another $4 a month per user, right? This is a capability that's in the system, and as we've seen in many of our other videos, is it a capability you've turned on and are leveraging? You have it available to you, but it may not be something that you're ready for. We see that so often with customers. I mean, we're working together, of course, as partners on all kinds of different implementations, and some of those, this is in phase 3. Right? Phase 1, they're standing up certain things that are key, and they have a idea of how they want to get there, but it takes a little bit of time. It doesn't happen all instantly.
It's often one of the things that people want to do really well, but often they don't have a good process already. And when they are migrating to Halo, it's the kind of the basic demand is we need to be able to do what we do now, plus all the kind of out the box things that Halo does better than what we do now. And then things like stock or additional modules, they come second phase, they come third phase, like you say. And I think that's how it should be. I think that's a really good approach to it, because if you try and Big Bang's good in some ways, it has its perks, but at the same time, if you're trying to do everything in one go, it does just have different things to learn, different things to understand how they all feed together, and yeah, it's
Well, there's the old saying, how do you eat an elephant? Right? One bite at a time.
One bite at a time, yeah.
Right? There's always the Big Bang, oh, we want to do all of this, but you can't boil the ocean sometimes in that first set. And to your point, for many customers, it's being able to define the process. What is our process going to be? And right now it's, well, we go to Liv, and Liv's our ordering person. This is what I see so often, right? We need it. I send an email over to Liv. Liv orders it and then tells me when it's come in. Or for items that are in our stockroom, we just go and take them, and somebody needs to notice that they took one of the last keyboards off the shelf and needs to tell somebody to order it. And what happens so often is now you need another keyboard, and there's none in there because everybody forgot to say something as the stock dwindled down. And it gives the customers that flexibility to track all those items. And when you start to look at the broadness of the system, you start looking at stock, right? We're not just talking about IT assets either. We could be talking about facilities assets. We've done this with a few customers that are doing facilities management as an incident and request process. And in facilities, they've got, I think of one that we work with this on. They've got things like gloves. So they get asked for a pair of gloves or screwdrivers or these things that
with facility, it doesn't even have to be the things that the user's requesting. It could be that they're working on a job where the water fountain's not working or something. But to fulfill that job, they need certain parts, and those parts could come out of stock. So it's not necessarily that the user knows what they're requesting, but it's the same idea. It's just the agent, as we call them, would be kind of using those stock items.
But that's been such a key thing a lot of times when we talk to facilities departments is, hey, here's common items that we burn down, and we need to these need to be on hand and available. So we want to know we have 10 left because we're going to order another case.
Absolutely.
That case contains 50. And it helps us do our planning of where we are. Because at any one time, somebody can go in and see what's in stock. What do we have? I'm placing an order. Okay, our stock level is 10, but we have 12. And if we have to order, this is a conversation I just had with a client the other day. He said, I want that flexibility to go look, because sometimes I'm placing a larger order, I'm going to get free shipping. And that item I know I'm burning down, okay, my threshold is 10, but I'm at 12, and I know the speed at which we go through this. So I'm going to order what I can get shipping for free, rather than now I've got to pay $15 shipping to get that case of gloves in. How can I see that at a glance where I can go through and go,
that's one of the great things about having it in something like Halo, is that you get a live view of it. You don't have to go to the location and kind of count. Obviously, you'll do stock takes at some point, but you get a live view of everything that's going on. That can be on dashboards, that can be on anything.
You've got the live view, and then in tying that into to some sort of inventory solution, a barcoding type solution that you go and do physical inventory. Then you can make stock adjustments.
Right?
Because
stuff changes.
Stuff does disappear, right?
I was going to add one more thing as well. I forgot to mention it, but we have a concept of stock templates as well. Now, a stock template is, we say at this location, we want to always have, 10 laptops, 10 keyboards, 5 mobile phones, and we say, and we can then compare, this is our kind of dream world to what we have now. And that's just all live data that you can compare and set kind of thresholds for notifications for when to order that back. And other use cases as well are, if you do have any remote kind of workers as well, we can use that template as, well, the van is effectively a stock location. This is kind of how it works. And then you'd have a template against that that says the van always must have these parts in it or these components. And then if they haven't got it, then you'd pull out a different location and transfer it to that van. So there's just, yeah, kind of there's a lot you can do with the system. That's, yeah, kind of already there out the box.
It gives you, like, as we've looked at some very, very basic use cases, you're able to expand and mature those use cases to suit, because your point is right. I think about like a large university, they usually have a couple of different IT vans that have certain items in them. So if they go over to a site, or hospitals are another thing where they've got multiple facilities, and that van, you know, the IT person is responding to replace a keyboard. Well, they don't just have one keyboard, they've got 5, because somebody always grabs them in the hall. Hey, while you're here, my mouse isn't working, right? And so they're able to actually, you know, create, and they could do it right on their mobile phone or their tablet. They can create the request, go ahead and remove it from stock from their van. And then with our workflows, we could have an end of the day workflow where it's a restock process, because we know what came out of the van, so what should be going back in, and that's going to affect, you know, another location. And then that helps also by knowing all these different locations when we do physical inventories, which as you start to move to a more rich, and this is, you know, as customers mature into a richer asset management posture, and you're potentially using a barcode solution to inventory a location, the solution, one of the solutions that you know, we're working on a integration with Halo for, would give you the ability to tell you if, as you inventory that location, where you're off, and figure out where that went, and then make sure you can true up your inventory, right? Because one of the things when you start to look at stock items, you know, and you think about keyboards and mice, and, you know, these things seem to be, you know, somewhat of a consumable. You start to get into wireless stuff, right?
Yeah.
This is $100 US.
You're
right?
showing off now.
Well, no, but you know, these are things that start to become standard, and it's not a $5 item, right? So you can't lose 20 of them and then go, oh well, right? There's a cost to that, and so kind of understanding how they're being used, where they're going, you know, makes it a little bit easier. So that's all about expanding, growing, but, you know, the base capabilities are there and ready to be used by any customer who makes the very educated choice to implement HaloITSM. Tom, as always, thanks for joining me. Thanks for talking through this. I think this will get some people noodling on this, because this isn't these type of things aren't available in every system. But Tom, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been good fun.
Yeah, and for those of you that are watching, you know, head to excaliburdata.com. As Tom said earlier, you can sign up for your free trial of HaloITSM right from our website. Look up more information, or reach out, and we'd be happy to get together and get Tom or one of his cohorts on a call, and we could talk through and let you see what HaloITSM can do for your organization. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you again soon on another episode of the Excalibur Data Systems Roundtable Tech Talk. Thanks, everybody.